Hello, David Kubian, Bearwoods Photography. I want to take a moment to talk to you about a really cool product that I think that every photographer should have it in their bag. I got my start really doing a lot of macro photography. I love close-ups. I love doing intimate landscape type work. And you know, sometimes it's hard to carry a dedicated macro lens with you all the time. So you want to be able to do macro and take advantage of the great zooms and everything that are out there, but you know, the close focusing sometimes just doesn't get you close enough. And that's where this comes in really handy. It's a close-up filter from Kase. And what I want to do is I want to demonstrate the differences of what it does. It's really easy. I use the Kase filter system. I've got the Revolution Wolverine on the front with the inlaid ring. The close-up filter is not a magnetic filter, and you sort of, at first I was sort of wondering why, but then I picked it up and I realized that the glass quality is so good and it's so heavy that I think that it would really put strain on a magnet, and you wouldn't want to do that, especially at some of the angles you work at. But all that it does is it simply screws on the front. So it's like a diopter, I think is the way that you would look at it. I don't know the exact strength on it, but it just simply screws onto the front. And the advantage to that is you can use your zoom to change your composition a little bit, but you don't have to necessarily move in and out, which you would have to do with a macro lens. I really like working at longer distances. It tends to blur the background a bit. I like to isolate my subject a little bit, so I like to have that capability of doing that. I've got it on the front of a Tamron lens, a 50 to 300 millimeter lens, which is already a pretty good close focus lens. This just makes it even better. So what I want to do is I want to show you some of the images with and without, how much of a magnification difference it can do, and I'll do the video with that. But I'll also want to show you the versatility of having that little piece of glass. It doesn't take up much room. As you can see, it fit into a little pouch that they've got, or a little holder. And it's got adapter rings with it. All my lenses are 67 millimeter and 82. I'm going to be using it all the time on a 67, so I just leave that 72 to 67 millimeter attached to it all the time. I've got some flowers over here. I'm just going to show you a few of the images, you know, with and without, and a couple considerations that you should always keep in mind with a macro. But to take full advantage of this, things like, you know, if you're trying to get the maximum amount into focus, get as parallel to your subject as you can. If you want to isolate, perpendicular is fine, but it allows you still to photograph at f16, you know, f11 to get some depth of field, but still blur that background. And again, it's not a macro lens, but it makes any lens a close to a macro lens or a close focus lens. So I can go on and on and on, I think, but the thing is you need to see how it works to see the difference. So let's go over to this little patch of some black-eyed Susans that I've got, and let's see what we can do. So what I've done here is I've set up the lens. It's roughly 36 inches or so to the minimum focusing distance of the lens at 300 millimeters. And you can see that it barely takes up half of the frame. If I wanted to fill the frame, I'd either have to crop, but I can't move in because that's the minimum focusing distance. And this is where that close-up filter really comes in handy. Let's go ahead and put it on the front, see how much we can fill the frame, you know, with this flower, still keeping a good sharp image. So this is with that filter on the front. Let me lighten up this exposure a little bit here. A little bit breezy out here today. Probably not the best day to do a close-up video. But I wanted to show you. You can see just by putting that on it, I've literally been able to get edge to edge, filling the flower into the frame. And it is very, very sharp. I'll put the still images in here as well. And I don't even know if this is as close as it can get. It may get even a little bit closer, but I really like, I mean, I've literally increased, you know, the image size and maintained the sharpness. And the key here is that the glass that's used is really high quality. It's got the multi-coatings, everything, so you're not putting something on the front of the lens, which traditionally people think of close-up filters as something that blurs on the edges and stuff, or blurs through the image, it's just not as sharp. This is not the case. This is a multi-element heavy piece of glass, so you can see definitely how much of a difference it makes. I'm going to try to see how close I can get, and we'll put that into the video as well. So now you can see I'm at about the minimum focusing distance of this lens with this filter on the front of it. And I've gone from 36 inches or so to about 18, maybe 20. So I think that you can see it's definitely filling the frame. And that image in the center is very, very sharp. I'm at f8. I'm going to try to go up here just to go to f16, and you can see it remains sharp. Just fine-tune my focus a little. And you can see, I mean, it's a great alternative to carrying a dedicated macro lens, and it makes your other lenses more versatile because you're simply looking at the ability of taking a 50 to 300 millimeter lens and sticking the filter on the front of it and getting extremely high quality close-up images as well. So you can see, I mean, I've reduced the minimum object distance by half, and I've increased how much it's filling the frame more than twice. I mean, it's now outside the frame edges and everything, so you can see really nice. And like I said, it's a little bit breezy, but it's still, you get the point as to how close you can focus, and the sharpness and everything as well is just incredible. So I hope that short little video demonstrated the versatility of using this high quality close-up filter on the front of a lens, especially a zoom lens, as to how quickly you can work with macro, how easy it is to change your composition without having to change your distance to the subject or anything else, but yet you're not sacrificing any quality. As you saw, it was really good sharpness, edge to edge, and again, it takes up such little space in your bag, but it increases the versatility of your lenses tenfold. So I definitely would take a good look at this, and I think that everyone should carry one in their bag. So David Akubian, Bearwoods Photography. Have a great day.